So I've taken a piece of styrene here and I've drawn out the outline of the arches onto the styrene, and I'm going to cut some strips 1/4 inch wide. Okay, I'm about halfway through gluing on all the styrene here, so just to show you what I'm doing, I just put the styrene strips in place, take a little 10x7R. So I finished the framing of the pieces that I want to mold. I've got 2 sections of retaining wall in here, 2 of the large wall sections. I'm doing a second one just as backup in case one breaks or doesn't come out right. Then I have a second piece, and but I only did one of the side piece, and that's going to be in. So I just mixed up a batch of hydrocal here, to just a little over 2 parts hydrocal to 1 part water, and I placed it in the mold. Now I'm just kind of smoothing it out a little bit, and then I'm going to shake it to try and make sure there's no bubbles in there, bring them to the surface. You can see a couple bubbles popping up here. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Start breaking away. It's been about maybe an hour and a half since I first put this in, and basically to get it out I have to break away all of the mold, but I'm ready to pull this one off and see how it's come out. So this is the big reveal here. Okay, it's popped loose. And pretty good. Okay, so I've finished doing the molding, and I've cleaned up the pieces a little bit. The 2 straight pieces down here at the bottom, those are going to be the retaining wall, and then there's the support sections. Okay, now I'm going to fasten the wall sections together, and I'm mounting them on a piece of foam core that I've cut out of a larger piece of foam core. To join the pieces together, I'm going to be using a 5-minute epoxy. Okay. Now, before I put this down, I'm going to take my hot glue and put a bead of this two together, and I line them. This is my mounting board, so I want this to be, and it's all square and flat. So okay, the next step is to put a coat of paint, or starting to color the building. I've already yesterday I epoxied it all together. You can see in the back I've added some supports using just some foam core board, and I've put just a quick coat of Rust-Oleum primer on the outside, just to seal it so that the paint doesn't soak in so much when I brush it on. And I'm using just some cheap craft paint from Michael's or something, craft store. This one's brick red. I've combined a bit of brick red and barn red, which is a little bit lighter. I've just put them in a bowl here and mixed it with about 50% water, about 50-50 mix of paint and water, just to get it pretty liquidy. And for this coat, I'm not doing anything precise. I'm just coloring the whole thing, making sure I get the brick and all of the concrete, everything. Okay, my plan now is to do a bit of a sign on this part of the structure and also on the large wall. Okay, so the next step in making this sign, I'm about to paint the red on here, but what I've done in the meantime is mask off the area that I want to keep as whitish gray. The kit came with some what I've done is take some dry transfer letters, and I've put those onto the painted area. Okay, let's see how these came out. I painted the areas with a Tamiya flat red acrylic paint. It just happened to be the flat red that I had on hand. They're not too bad. So there it is. I don't know if you can see that. Took off a little bit of the gray, but I'm going to be weathering that and taking off some more of it, so that's pretty good. Okay, this seems to be working out alright. What I'm doing to get the black off is I'm putting a piece of masking tape on over top of the letters where I put the dry transfers, and then just pulling it off. And it's the P didn't come out so well. I'm going to try to do another layer on that, but you can see that the dry transfers are coming off, revealing the white paint underneath. Okay, so I've started removing some of the paint. It's a very simple process. I'm just dipping a brush in water. Like I said, this is acrylic paint that I used over top of the chipping fluid. So I've been adding just a lot of little details to the structure itself, and I thought I'd go over some of the details that I've added. First of all is this awning over top of the windows, and that's just made with evergreen angle styrene. I just cut it in little pieces and just fashioned up a little awning to hold some corrugated metal, which is probably, I'll just maybe put a piece of this on the top of the awning. The windows here, I just cut some holes in the windows and cracked it up some clear styrene and put that on the back. And that's pretty much it. So this piece is almost done. I'm just going to do a few more weathering streaks on here using some of my washes, maybe some AK streaking effects. I have a little break in the downspout here, then I want to try and put a little black wash or something, as if the water is leaking out at that point, running down the building. For these three windows, I just used some actual basswood and cut those out and aged them a little bit, put those in there. For these three windows, when I painted the windows, I put them on just some painter's tape. I stuck them on the tape and then painted them and did my aging process, and it actually came, it was very interesting. So I just cut the tape out around the glazing and left that right in the window, and I just did a little bit more of weathering. Just used some mud colored enamel wash over top of it to give it this finished look.